Heads up, attention, all Seminole business owners. If your business has been affected by the COVID-19 virus and you have insurance coverage for business interruption, Morgan Law Group may be able to help you. Contact the Morgan Law Group for a free consultation and review of your policy today. Just call 888-904-2524. For more information, head to policyadvocate.com/headlines, where you'll see my pretty mug, and click the COVID-19 link. On with the show we go.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, presented by Capital City Bank, featuring ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron, WarChant.com's managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2 of the Seminole Headlines, 97.9 ESPN Radio. This one, of course, brought to you by our friends at Birch Orthodontics. You hear us talk about the fine staff and the great work the folks at Birch Orthodontics do on a weekly basis. They are also great supporters of Seminole Headlines, and so we owe them an awful lot of gratitude, but we also appreciate their work. Nothing's changed since the last time. I still appreciate Birch Orthodontics. My kids still go there. They're still getting wonderful service as they do. I know all of Ira's daughters are happy as well, so we're good. Corey's the only slappy that hasn't made his way over there, but he lives in Atlanta. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm the outlier.
Yeah, half the time. But yeah, the
website.
There you go. The website, birchorthodontics.com. And if you don't know what you need or whether or not your kids or your teeth can be repaired, you need to go in and they'll give you a consultation and let you know what is possible. And they do financing. It's just a great operation.
Josh writes, gentlemen, do you feel like this era's losing is deserved? Could it be getting bad karma for redshirting both Randy Moss and Tamorian Terry? Seriously, you can't tell me they were such bad route runners as freshmen that FSU couldn't find a way to play them. They could just run a vertical every play, and the game would be a very effective 50% of the teams that they would play against in the ACC. Yeah. So,
Randy Moss wasn't redshirted because
he was not redshirted, right?
Well, he was redshirted, but it wasn't because he couldn't run the route tree. Bowden made that promise to the president. We're going to take him, but he's going to redshirt his first.
Well, that's what I meant. He wasn't redshirted in typical fashion.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I would also note is that was stupid. Bowden shouldn't have done
it. It was. And Danny Cannell, I had a talk with Danny Cannell about years ago, before he even really got into TV, and he talked about begging with Bowden, 2 weeks into fall camp, please let him play. Let him play. And they didn't. It was a good scout team. Got the DBs ready.
Preston writes, big thanks to Ira for trying to get my question read last week, even though Jeff wasn't having any of it and read the imposter's question instead.
Oh, okay.
That being said, throwback headlines for that ass returns. Ira, do you still hate Baker Mayfield? In 2016, you said he was this year's version of Jordan Lynch.
Wow, that aged well. I didn't. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I hated Baker. Well, I hate the little scrappy one.
He was also an unlikable kid. It wasn't like he was a very likable kid on the field.
He was, however, a lot better than Jordan Lynch.
He was. Yes, indeed.
Corey, in 2016, FSU played at MSG, and while joking about the lack of attendees, you said, were people allowed? Was there a flu scare or something?
Oh.
And he goes, no question, but that's just effing crazy.
Hey, that's what I do. That's what I do. I foresaw something like this.
Jeff, when Ira jettisoned the Democrat for War Chant, it sounded during those shows that there was a lot of animosity between him and Sweet Pea. Were there ever physical off-the-air altercations between them? And if so, who won? I don't think there were, but there were arguments. You guys had a couple of arguments, didn't you?
I don't think they were arguments. They were just long discussions about that move. They weren't arguments.
They were immediately heated.
I don't think they got that heated.
I think you took some shots at Ira.
There was sometimes on the show, we would play the game a little bit.
Sure. Yeah,
but no. Actually, I would say this. Then when I was considering the move, Corey actually sent me some of the nicest text messages. We talked about his other text messages. Yeah. Corey sent me a couple text messages where some of the nicest things anybody's really ever told me that's not like a family member. Just why he wanted me to stay. So anyway, it was
And you could see how effective it was.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, thanks, buddy. But Gene's talking dollars, buddy.
Hey, so I was going to say though. So Ira, don't you think it was hard to say no to me, right? I mean, I know you did, but I made it hard for you to break that news to me. That's why I think I could be a pretty good recruiter, because I make it hard for the kid to say no to me, and he's got like, all right, you're right. I'm gonna come. I'm coming to.
I don't want to come, but I don't want to make you feel bad.
Yeah, I think I could.
But Corey, you're devaluing your thoughtful words by admitting it was a pitch. So
I workshopped it with a couple of people. Jim Henry was one. Yeah. We kind of came up with what I was going to text.
Michael writes, gentlemen, I am a podcast addict, and there's no other show I wait to devour more than my weekly shot of headlines. Now that masks are mandatory, what's a guy got to do to get a Pistols and Pie branded face covering?
Man, I was thinking about that.
There's our merch. We can do masks, man.
Because
then people want to wear them in public if they're cool, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. You sound like
I was thinking in general the merch thing. I was thinking the other day. I was like, man, this is ridiculous. We got to get on this. It's got to happen.
Yeah, so maybe Corey's got a lot of time on his hands.
What do you think we could charge for? I don't know what the mask would do. We could have obviously Pistols and Pie, straight to limo, a squirrel, a picture of like my mouth on a mask, something like that, something really recognizable. But what do you charge for them? We got to make it cost effective. We got to be able to make $1 off this, because I can get Stephanie to make them. She loves doing that kind of stuff. We just got to figure out a price point.
Well, I think $25 to $30 a pop is probably fair.
It's fair.
And then I think well, you're going to use it. You're going to use it a lot. And then I think in addition to and we got to factor in the labor. So,
Sure.
There's real things going on there. Secondly, I think if you're really bold, we could introduce a mask that, since we talk about home runs at Dick Howser stadiums as being dongs, you could just have dongs
on the face, right, where the mouth is. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the word dongs, Corey. Jesus.
No, that's what I meant. I wasn't not a drawing.
like I love dongs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
More dongs.
I don't know about that. I don't know if people want to wear it. I don't think that's going to be a hot item.
You have to be confident, bold. You have to,
I feel like let's keep that on the shelf for a while and let's get some more.
Well, that's special priced, because you have to have a lot of security in who you are. You got to, you don't have any, fear. You buy a $50 dong mask. You're not fearing anything.
Oh, you're true. You're right about that.
Yeah. Doc Dean writes, Seymour, because I'm long-winded. Gentlemen, 3. That includes Corey. I know we're all eager to see the beginning of the Norvell era as soon as safely possible, but there are a lot of aspects of the pre-COVID times I miss greatly. My biggest one is singing, whether a little karaoke, a musical at our fine local theater, or Sunday in the church choir, all of which are sadly off the table for the foreseeable future. What aspect of pre-COVID life outside of sports do you really miss the most? Love you guys. Stay safe.
That's gotta be tough for Doc, because people don't know. Yeah, he's a very good singer and performing.
Yeah.
My thing is, and I told you about it Monday on the show, and I was telling Kim about it this morning actually. They're just seeing this family I saw Sunday at the park on Father's Day that was, all together having a barbecue and a cookout and everybody hugging each other and like dancing with their little daughter and all that stuff. That to me is the biggest thing to me. I just miss the ability for groups of people to get together and share time together. It sucks. I mean, it sucks that we don't have that right now. And not to get all crazy, but how many years do we have on this planet? And if a full year is removed from that, I mean, it just sucks. I'm tired. I mean, it's frustrating.
I keep talking about it's a psychological terror, and it is, and it sounds, maybe a bit over the top, but there's this ominous cloud kind of hanging over your day-to-day life, and it's very, very frustrating. You understand that you got to sacrifice, and every generation has its thing that they got to go through, but damn it, man. Because we all have people that do fall in that category of those that would be greatly at risk. So it's not like I walk around in constant fear of COVID. I don't think Corey or Ira does either, but I have a 94-year-old grandmother that's sharp as a tack that I love dearly, and I couldn't see her on her birthday, and I can't bring her great-grandkids to see her. And there are a lot of people whose mothers and fathers are over the age of 70 and are greatly affected. And so, yeah, man, it absolutely sucks.
I miss bar trivia.
Yeah.
That's mine, I think.
Profound. I'm glad you got that.
You're welcome, guys.
I
didn't want to bring it down.
I miss playing Hold'em poker at the J.C. Casey.
Yeah, stuff like that.
I'm just drinking whiskey at 1 o'clock in the afternoon here with my boys.
Yeah, all that stuff, man. It's all depressing.
Seminole Headlines, 97.9 ESPN Radio continues in a moment.
Seminole Headlines will take a breather. More next. Seminole Headlines returns now on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right, back to headliner questions. Clay writes, decided to go back and listen to Seminole Headlines circa 2013. Looking back at the performance Jameis Winston put together against Pitt, what should we expect from Chubba? Jameis, of course, was 26 of 27 for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Is that right? Is that what he was?
He had 2 incompletions. He did have 2 incompletions.
One was a throwaway.
Wait, they screwed him on.
Yeah, and the other one was a catch. Like I think Kenny got his foot down.
Yeah.
Thanks for continuing to put out content weekly. I'm not sure I'd be making it studying through the Florida bar without you guys. Thanks, Clay.
Good luck.
Good luck,
Clay.
Yeah.
Make it happen, Clay.
Yeah, I don't know how much we've talked about who we expect to be the quarterback.
Whoever it is, they're not going to have a game like Jameis had against Pitt.
Probably not.
We can all rest assured with that.
But remember, even the coaches like Dawsey later. I mean, I think Jeff talked to him and other people. They didn't know he was going to be like that until after the game. They were like, "Holy crap, what just happened?"
He was even better than they realized, right? Yeah. It didn't go the other way. Yeah, Dawsey's quote to me was in that golf tournament that I brought up a lot, and I didn't know it at the time, but I had the opportunity to reflect on it quite a bit post 2013, really post that game. And it was interesting because Dawsey did rave about Jameis. I mean, he did say repeatedly, like, the guy's really, really, really good. But we just don't know what it's going to be like when he faces live bullets and he can get hit. He's like, that's the final step. He talked about it making all the throws. He talked about it being smart. He talked about it being tough and a competitor. And he talked about all the things that you loved about him. But then he goes, but you never really know until they turn on the lights and it's for real and people can hit you. And how do you respond the first time somebody squares you up between the numbers and drives you into the turf? And he's like, we won't know that. And then we found out.
He was 25 of 27 for 356, 4 touchdowns, and he also ran for a touchdown. Yeah. Jacob Coker was 2 for 2 for 21 yards.
Big day for Jacob.
Yeah. Big day. He kind of let the nation know.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Those were also his numbers for the national championship game in Alabama.
Yeah, 2 national championship quarterbacks, though, right there.
Kyle writes, hey, guys, happy belated Father's Day to all 3 of you. With the possibility of a rename coming to Doak, do you think FSU goes all in on the naming rights since they desperately need the money? And can you think of another college football stadium that is named after a company besides Louisville? Thanks for the great show, as always. Well, Albertson Stadium there where Boise plays, right, is one. It's becoming more and more of a thing, and I absolutely think Florida State should sell their soul. If there's a way to co-op it and say it's Bobby Bowden Stadium with, as brought to you by whatever.
Pennzoil.
Then I would do it that way. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's traditionally, it's been seen as, low rent or something for universities to do it as opposed to pro sports. But at this point, they're all going to start doing it, I'm sure. And Florida State certainly should do it. The only question right now, and Gene brought this up to me the other day, and we're going to look into it. I haven't yet. But, the rights deal they have with IMG for marketing, the IMG, all these marketing companies, they buy the rights. They pay an upfront fee, and then they go try to make their money back.
Yeah.
So would that money go to IMG or would it actually go to FSU? That's the question. They have to work that part out, because if the money's just going to go to IMG for buying the rights, then that doesn't do them any good. So that part would have to be worked out. But yeah, I think Florida State definitely needs to look long and hard at selling the naming rights to the stadium, whatever happens. and with whether or not Doak stays or not. And I think people are more accepting of it now than they were 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
But
Miami plays at the Hurricanes play at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah.
Well, and there was the thought that Florida State could capitalize on something like that as well, since it's a Seminole Hard Rock Stadium. But
Sure.
But at the same time, I don't want to do anything, even though it is the Seminole Hard Rock Stadium. I don't want to do anything on the heels of what Miami has done. They can't even build a real practice stadium. Kevin writes, I forget your names, but all three of you are okay.
Great.
If you start now and get Birch Orthodontics and our others to chip in fast and heavy, you can get the stadium named Seminole Headlines Field at X sponsor highest bidder.
I like it.
Yeah, I would go more with. I think we want War Chant though, right? Ira, if we're going to try to get our name in there, wouldn't it be War Chant that we're trying to get?
That doesn't help me at all, buddy. It's Seminole Headlines.
Well, you're right. I think we make collectively, Ira and I think make more money off War Chant like that. That's more. War Chant pays our bills more than Seminole Headlines.
But it doesn't pay any of my bills.
True, I get it.
Yeah.
This is something we're gonna have to work through. I understand.
It's nuanced.
Yeah, it's a little nuanced. Some gray area here.
Tom writes, gentlemen and Sweet Pea, which FSU quarterback should they keep separate, like the State of the Union designated survivor, in case there's a COVID outbreak? They should have to be able to play in an emergency, but would miss valuable reps during practice due to being isolated. That's funny.
I would say Jordan Travis, because if there's assuming the offensive line maybe has a couple of not an outbreak, but maybe a couple guys go down there too, and you need somebody to run around, that might be the guy. That might be like the wild card you have just in case.
I like it. I'm with you.
Ryan writes, gents and people whose name rhymes with Dory, what would be worse, losing to UM and UF every year from here on out, or having to relive a decade of 2020's pandemic and all?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
So a whole decade of this? No, they can lose to Florida and Miami. I can't do this for another 9 years.
Because as you get older and you have kids, etc., perspective becomes a little bit easier to arrive at.
Yeah.
So what felt like the end of the world when you were 21, 22, 23, or if you're still stuck in adolescence and you're 60, is a football game's result, right? But not as much anymore.
Yeah.
Not as much anymore. So I'd rather be able to get together and enjoy the other 11 games or 10 games during the course of the year, knowing that we were going to lose those two big ones, but be with friends and family who are at no risk of dying by us getting together while we watch the full slate of college football for the day, than to go through a decade of this nonsense.
But you say that now. What if you're on year 7? And you're like, yep, going to lose to these guys again.
Yep. That's
great.
All right.
I'm tired of this.
In many ways, it really wouldn't even matter. You'd grow so accustomed to it that you would just concentrate on the 10 that you could win.
Yeah. You're right. It's a 10-game season.
It'd be like that stretch where Georgia played Florida every year, and it didn't really matter.
Didn't matter who was good, who wasn't.
That Florida was going to win that game. So, but you still watch the other 11.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's a good point.
Matt writes, so Jeff, I'll ask again. How is it what we have been through the past 5 years, even comparable to the lost decade? We are about to lose much of what Bobby built, if not corrected soon. I don't think we are. I mean, the last 5 years has been bad, but on the heels of what Bobby built, they won another national championship without Bobby. After the end of Bobby's time was a debacle. So, they've come out the other side and proven that with the right coach, the ability to recruit, many ways due to the location of Florida State, and the cachet that came before it, can be replicated rather easily.
And the other thing I'd say is, 2000, it's really 3 years, really. I mean, the 2 years before 17 were not fun.
No,
they weren't great, but they won 10 games.
Yeah.
And then the other difference here is during that time of the last 6-7 years of Coach Bowden's tenure, you really never thought it was going to turn around. I mean, well,
it was not going to turn around.
Now, when they brought Jimbo in, and Trickett and Dawsey, like you could feel like, okay, maybe there's a way. There's a way to kind of send Coach Bowden out with a 9 or 10 win season, and you can feel a little bit better. That gave you like a glimmer of hope at the beginning. But then even after Jimbo got settled in, he kind of made it clear that, yeah, man, this is going to be a big problem. I mean, we're not fixing anything real quick. It was worse than he even expected when he came in. So there was just year after year of no expectations about what could possibly be happening. I think, Willie's first year, there were expectations. So that was fun for a while till they played the Virginia Tech game.
Yeah, until the first game. Sure.
And then now there's now there's hope again. You're not going to have year after year after year of not expecting anything good.
Basically, post 2002, we came into every season either in denial, believing that there was a chance Florida State could once again compete for a national title, or we were in a place of acceptance that we were running to stand still, that they had.
And there's nothing you could do about it.
And there's nothing you could do about it because you weren't going to walk in and fire the head coach. But you did wonder, and thus began the debates, when can you fire the head coach even when he's a legend? Because that's where this ended up going to. Eventually it got to a place where even Bobby's most ardent supporters eventually said, all right, man, you got to go. This is ridiculous. We're not going to win. And it hurt. It was terrible. Those were horrific years. And so I don't know, man. I think it was a big deal for Florida State as a university and as a football program to prove post-Bobby that they could win a national championship without him. And Jimbo did that pretty damn quickly. I think it showed that the university, its location, the cachet, what it represents in the world of college football is above and beyond a singular man in a singular era.
Well said. Well said, buddy.
And on that note, we'll go to break, damn it. Seminole Headlines, ESPN Radio continues in a moment.
Seminole Headlines will take a breather. More next. Seminole Headlines returns now on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Stephen writes, love the show, guys, and thank you for what you do. Of course, coronavirus is very serious, but is Clemson playing chess while everybody else is playing with 23 players testing positive? Old Dabo has his starting lineup on both sides with antibodies.
Yeah. No lie, man. Maybe that was their play all along.
Well, we kind of talked about that earlier in the show with, if it did have such serious repercussions, there is the thought that, 50 guys test positive, not at the end of the world. We'll be moving on. Right. I mean, if you just look at the percentages, less than 1% of the kids that would get this at their age in this shape that they're in are going to suffer really devastating deleterious effects, right? It's going to be a case where they're going to, many of them will be asymptomatic and many others will, feel a little run down and then they'll be back and ready to go.
Yeah. And we're not 100% sure. Science isn't 100% sure that you can't get it again. We think you can't get it again. It seems likely. But yeah, you think if you're a coach and if Trevor Lawrence gets it and gets through it, at that point, you're like, shoo, we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Right. Good point.
Matthew writes, gents, Willie, Jimbo, and Bobby form their own headlines. What do they say about you?
Oh, man.
That's a great question. He goes on to say also, and I'm dead serious, which group of the three would do better in the Middleick Challenge? You guys or the coaches? Oh, us.
100% us.
Because poor Bobby Bowden is going to
Bowden's.
that's it. Yeah,
that's not happening.
It's instantly 2-on-3 at that point, Ira. The debate's over.
Willie was an option quarterback.
Well, no, is he saying that we're not fighting them? It's those three against.
No, okay, I'm sorry. I'm saying at that point, it's two men, both diminutive, going against Middleick Watson. That ain't happening.
Yeah,
you need all three guys.
Done. Bowden's a non-starter. Yeah, we got that. And we're all virile. We're all in great shape.
But you guys,
physical condition.
Use your minds here for a second.
No.
Bobby, here's what happens, though. So Middleick's blindfolded, right? That's part of the challenge. He's blind. Isn't he blindfolded?
Yes.
I don't think so. I think y'all made him blindfolded. I think
because we thought he would kill you.
I think he just has both the arms tied behind his back, but he's not blindfolded.
See, he's not blindfolded. So Coach Bowden walks up to him and starts talking to him, using his Southern charm, getting him off guard, just kind of relaxing him. And hey, buddy, I know you're not happy being handcuffed right now. And I know, there's these two other guys here, but they're just here. They're just hanging out. And then he's sweet talking him, disarming him. And then Willie and Jimbo sneak up from behind and they take his legs out.
Jimbo especially would.
Yeah. The
Jimbo tried to rip his thorax.
Is that I think that we got to look at defining our terms, because if Middleick knows this is a challenge, he's not falling for Bowden's talking points.
Bowden is smooth.
Just going to knock the old man out.
Bowden is smooth.
He's entered into a ring. He already knows they're there to fight. This is not. We're not in the office.
This wasn't a recruiting visit.
Right. He knows something's afoot.
Yeah. As for what Willie, Jimbo, and Bobby would say about us if they had their own headline show,
I think Jimbo and Willie they would have a fun conversation.
I'll tell you what I think. I think Willie would have nice things to say about the three of us. I think that Bobby would have nice things to say about you two. And I think that Jimbo would hate all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
I
But
feel like that's true.
although I don't know about the whole Willie would have nice things to say about us. He might have nice things to say about you.
I think
possibly.
you would have nice things to say about me.
I don't think he would have nice things to say about.
But I
Corey
don't
and
think he would be me. I don't think he'd be like
No, I don't think he
rip
holds
us
us
that much. We didn't do anything really.
in disregard or disdain. I don't think so.
I think it would be.
He was there those Saturdays when they played too. He
Let me ask you
understood
this.
where we were coming from.
Let me ask you this. So, like, there's a thought, like when somebody follows you in a job and they suck, like the part of you thinks, well, now people are going to appreciate me. But also you like that place. Like Jimbo, for all of his issues that we have with him, he loved Florida State. He grew up cheering for Florida State. I mean, he did. When he played for Terry. I think he does have some love for Florida State University football. Do you think if he was around Willie for a while, he would be more resentful to what he did to the program? Or do you think he would be like fine with him because, hey, it made me look better?
I think secretly he was fine with Willie because it made him look better. But I think, while he may have a historical appreciation of Florida State, I don't think that
he doesn't love it. He doesn't love it more than he loves himself.
Right.
But I do think he cares about Florida State.
Well, and I don't know how you couldn't. I mean, he had a lot of bonds and relationships formed here on his way to winning a national title, his only national title, and he'll never win another one because he's not going to win one at A&M, and then he'll retire with $75 million. So, I mean, this is it. He reached the pinnacle. And I don't know how you couldn't have some fondness for that. It also is the first place to make him a head coach and paid him handsomely. So again, I think that
but he was through with the administration. He was through with the media. He was through with the fans at the end.
I get the bitterness,
and he didn't feel appreciated.
But with each passing year, I think he'll have a little bit more fondness for Florida State. They were also here to help in every way possible for the Kids First Fund. I just think there's a lot that he probably does appreciate as time goes by, and I think in truth, I think that the fans probably, as time goes by, forgive him a little bit for the way that things ended. They're not there yet, but 15 years from now, if you come back and celebrate, or in 2023, if they do a 10-year anniversary of the national championship and he were to be announced along with that team and they all came out and waved, I think most people would cheer. I think most people would say, okay, we appreciate that you did that. I mean, national championships are hard to win. Maybe
15, 20 years. I don't know. I don't know. 2023, he's going to get a huge ovation.
But I don't think people would boo.
Maybe not. Maybe some would, but maybe not. But for the uninitiated, because it was a long time ago, the Menelik Challenge was named after Menelik Watson, who was a former boxer before he became to Florida State. He was a mountain of a man. Is he still in the league?
Yeah, I think so.
And the challenge was, Ira said, what would it take for you to get in the ring with Menelik Watson to me? And I said he'd have to have both arms tied behind his back. And he could not use his arms at all. And that was the discussion, is could I beat Menelik Watson in a fight when he had both arms tied behind his back? So that was the Menelik Challenge.
And then we talked about maybe needing to blindfold him because if he could see you, then you were going to be in trouble.
Too big.
No, he's actually not playing in the league anymore.
No, I didn't think he was. He was actually a disaster in the league. He wasn't any good.
I didn't realize that.
He wasn't a disaster. Don't be so hyperbolic.
4 years. 4 years in the league.
4 years. That's not a disaster.
Second round pick. It's
second round pick. He wasn't like a top 10. He wasn't Alex Barron.
All right, I'll give you that. He wasn't very good.
Right.
Brent writes, relative to the league. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, you know what? You're a disaster. How about that? Don't talk about Menelik like that.
You go screw yourself.
Fair.
Brent writes, how's it going, gentlemen? This is a Seymour. A couple of years ago, I met Corey Clark as he was coming out of the restroom and licking his fingers at Dick Hauser Stadium during an FSU baseball game.
There's no way that's accurate. That's a funny line, though.
Let me read the whole thing because that's probably 100% accurate. A couple of years ago, I met Corey Clark as he was coming out of the restroom and licking his fingers at Dick Hauser Stadium during an FSU baseball game. Just last week during dinner, I met Jeff Cameron as he was coming out of the restroom at Gordo's Cuban Restaurant on the north side. I'm beginning to notice a pattern here. I would really like to meet the last of the great triumvirate. So the question is really just for Ira. When and where do you take your morning bathroom break?
What public restrooms do you like?
Good question. I also, I can guarantee you, I will not be licking my fingers when I exit
licking
that
my
fifth.
fingers.
He apparently was licking his fingers.
There's no chance. I can't even imagine. Like,
guys, you're forgetting that's in reference to the fact that you used to sneak off and eat the sandwich. That
gotcha. Eating the Monte
thanks,
Cristo.
Jeff.
Oh, there you go. All right, that makes sense.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Walter writes, great show, captains of pistols and pies. I'd like to hear your thoughts about which player will be the biggest disappointment if they never see the field for FSU. Kind of a Randy Moss type question.
For this, like on the team now?
Yeah. Is there somebody that won't see the field that is going to be a huge disappointment?
I mean,
nobody to that level for sure. Maybe Chubba. If he just rolls in and never really plays, and then
that would be devastating.
Yeah,
I think we all have decided he's pretty much the quarterback of the future. That would be a real problem.
Well, you know what gives me hope too with him is how good his brother was at Iowa State, like right away. Like really now good. And he put up huge numbers last year as a true sophomore. So, and I know there's people out there that think Chubba's the better of the two brothers. We'll see.
Most people think that, yes.
So that's a good sign.
It would be devastating. Yeah, that's a good answer. Good answer, guys. Good answer. It's like
guys, it's just me. Feud. I was sitting there just staring at it.
Playing Family Feud. Good answer, Corey. Good
thanks.
Yeah, it's very good. I always thought watching that show because of the amount of stupidity that is, you bear witness to, that there's always that third guy down, the uncle who's sitting there in disbelief that Margaret just said what she said,
right? Yeah.
And he has to do the fake clap. I've wanted somebody to be like, "You can't be that dumb."
Yeah.
You can't be that. You've just screwed us.
Why did they put Margaret in the third spot?
Yeah. Are you me, Margaret? That's your answer.
What? There's a video of, remember Richard Dawson, the original host?
This is everybody, which disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
He'd go in too. He'd go in.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It would never happen today.
He's sexually assaulting.
Oh, yeah. No, I knew it as a kid when I watched the show. I was like, this is uncomfortable. He all but put his hand on her ass a moment ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He grabbed him by the side of the face sometimes, it was just
grab him. I went, oh, no, Corey, don't you dare.
Unbelievable.
I thought we were referencing some other grab him.
Oh, no, I wasn't doing that. He would grab him by the side of the face. No.
Marlon writes, happy Father's Day to you guys and to Jeff's dad. Sorry, Corey and I. With a strong wave, you saw that. It was on Twitter on Father's Day.
Yeah, that was funny.
Even I don't approve of that.
Hey, what are you going to do?
A picture of me and my father hugging on Father's Day, but I thought that
would have been too much. That's a line you don't cross.
I'm not going to do that. But it was going to be funny. It was going to be like a series of pictures where we're laughing. And with the strong wave of the PC culture, I'm getting worried about our Seminole name. I know they've come forward in the past, and the tribe stood tall for us, but with the move to change Doak, I was wondering if any of you can find out how much longer I'm sorry, I lost track of what I was reading here, guys. I was wondering if any of you can find out how much would a lifetime endorsement of the stadium name be worth, like if the tribe sponsored it. This is going to involve a much greater discussion, and the three of us have kind of talked about it off the air before, and I don't want to get into it now because we only have one more segment of the show. We got to get to more headliner questions. But I have thought for a very long time, I'm just going to put this out there, that if Florida State would like to keep the name Seminoles, they're going to have to take action in a lot of ways, primarily working hand in hand with the Seminole tribe. But secondarily, it might be a good idea not to have a white dude dressing up on a horse and racing out there and planting a spear. And that is where you're going to go, Corey. You're going to tell me Chief Osceola was white. Fine, I've heard it. I'm just telling you it ain't a good look, and you know that's true. And I think at some point they're going to have to address this. Now, you could still do it, but you may need an actual Seminole Indian to plant the spear.
Yeah, I can see that instead of a college kid.
Jim from Brooklyn.
And he was the son of a British soldier. His mom was Native American, but she wasn't a Seminole Indian, but she was a Native American. So he was, but he looked like a white guy, which is just crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I don't think they have any real issue with the Seminole name. Like,
Right. No, I don't think so.
I don't think that's in danger.
It's not Redmond like some of the names that have been changed in the past.
Well, it's a name of a tribe.
Right.
Like
right.
it's the name of an actual tribe.
You have to continue to uplift and educate.
Yeah.
You have to provide scholarships. You have to do a lot to pay tribute. Those are all necessary aspects of this. And I think Florida State in recent years has done a very good job of that. They didn't 40 years ago at all. They have now. And that's good. That's a big step in the right direction. I'm telling you, it involves a lot of dialogue, a lot of money, and a lot of common sense. And I just think that at some point, again, if you're trying to protect the bigger picture, the name and all of that, you have to make sure you're doing that alongside the Seminole tribe themselves. And then, moreover, I really think you're probably going to have to take a good, long, hard look at the pregame tradition. And that makes people uncomfortable. I mean, change makes people uncomfortable. We're seeing that all around us right now. But I think if you ignore it and you just push it away and say, oh, that's preposterous, well, you got problems on your hands because then somebody else is going to make the decision for you.
Iron, you might know this. Is there any way they could train Renegade to plant the spear himself? Can you get horses to do stuff like that?
I think the lack of an opposable thumb is a challenge.
It's a challenge, but not impossible.
Probably.
Let's see. Let's see. I mean, you invented the Clark helmet that saved college football. Maybe you could work on.
I got to figure out a way to train a horse.
You got to do everything, Corey.
Yeah, I know. I guess I do. Nobody will step up.
Well, and when Jimbo gets fired after they lose 6 games this year and they pay off the rest of that contract, maybe we can just have Jimbo without the horse just run out there as Jimbo and plant the spear and dance. Then he can dance for us and we can play the the music.
Yeah, that's right.
Seminole Headlines on 97.9 ESPN Radio continues in a moment.
Seminole Headlines will take a breather. More next. Seminole Headlines returns now on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Wrapping it up on Seminole Headlines, Ryan writes, fellas, maybe an Ira question. Who makes the major pancakes at FSU? I work for the biggest defense contractor in the world and was pretty bummed to hear our CEO was a Bama graduate and their largest donor. Needless to say, his salary is 8 figures. Is there another Al Dunlap out there mixing some Seminole Headlines Inc. flapjacks for us?
I mean, that's the one, and Corey tweeted about her. I mean, obviously, Sarah Blakely. Right? Yeah, Sarah Blakely would be the one that, if there's the biggest fish out there. But from everything we've always heard, that there's not a lot of interest on her part in writing a big check to help out Florida State athletics. There are some. I mean, if you had to pick one, I'd say probably Devon Moore is probably the biggest booster for FSU athletics, and I think he's got a gift of I think it was like $25 million, some huge number for his estate when he passes. That's going to go to Florida State. They've got a lot of big estate gifts coming that people are bequeathing for when they pass. But Al Dunlap was was the biggest cash donor that they had. Somebody that could just write checks right away was Al Dunlap, and Corey's favorite guy.
I just looked it up. According to the internet, Sarah Blakely is worth $1.2 billion.
She's got some coins.
She's got some cash.
Worked out for her.
Yeah. I mean, what's $11 million to her when you're worth $1.2 billion? Is that like us donating $300?
Ira, have you ever explored why it is that she has mild to no interest in helping Florida State University?
We should get her on the show.
That's probably going to happen. I mean, there's different versions of rumors out there that some people feel like that say that they approached it the wrong way and they turned her off. Some people say that no, that's not true. She just whatever. I haven't gotten the complete.
You don't know the straight dope, is what you're saying.
No, I'll try to look into it though. There's got to be some.
I wondered that.
No, I mean, there's obviously everybody's got different views. One thing that I've always thought, and I know that a lot of fans feel like, is you'd like to see some more athletes give back as well. But the challenge there is a lot of times the athletes feel like they gave plenty while they were there, and they feel like the school got as much or more out of them than they did. So, and I can understand that feeling.
Unpaid workforce, yes.
But you also see, an Edgerrin James give a gift to UM. You see Ndamukong Suh give his gift. I mean, it's not like other guys aren't doing it at some schools. So that's, to me, a big thing they need to figure out a way to unlock if they can.
Zach writes, now that the NCAA has approved the 6-week preseason schedule, who are you guys betting is the starting quarterback against West Virginia? Corey, you start this one.
I'm 51% that it's going to be Chubba.
51%?
51% that it's going to be Chubba.
And James Blackman would be the 49%?
Yeah. Well, 40%, and then 9% is other.
Oh, so Rodemaker gets the other nod
Well,
there.
and Jordan Travis, maybe. I was looking up Daniel Berger, what he had made the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, a lot.
$1.8 million in the last 2 weeks he's earned on the PGA Tour.
For the ages. He has 32 consecutive rounds of par or better on the PGA Tour. Do either of you happen to know Tiger's epic run that he went on in which he had a score of par or better on the NCAA, on the PGA Tour?
Fire, you probably know that, right? That's off the top of your dome. No, I know. I have no idea.
I don't want to show off.
Right.
52 straight rounds of par or better on the PGA Tour for Tiger Woods. But Daniel Berger is now entering into some rarefied air. He's about to catch some guys that are all-time great, including Phil Mickelson.
Yes.
And Funk.
His last 5 tournaments, he's finished in the top 5 or top 10 in every one. In the last 4, he's finished in the top 5. Yeah. So he's made $3 million this year. He could give $1 million because he gets sponsored a lot too.
What did he change? What did he change?
So he recovered from an injury, and in doing so, I think it really helped him because he spent a lot of time coming back from that injury, just working on his game until he could finally play again. If you look at shots gained tee to green, he's number 1 right now, or he may be number 3 right now from tee to green. Rory's number 1.
Ira, I can't believe you asked this question.
I was kind of curious.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you'd like, because Corey got a little uneasy about this, what I'll tell you is that he's top 5 in almost every meaningful statistical category in golf currently. So he's really good at getting out of the bunker. He's really good at scrambling. He's really good at ball striking. He's really good at putting right now. And these guys go through stretches where they're in a zone. But the thing about Daniel Berger, and since this is a Florida State-oriented show, people should know, people forget because they see Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas and other big names, and they think, wow, man, Daniel Berger's kind of coming out of nowhere. Daniel Berger was in that class, and Daniel Berger was Rookie of the Year on the PGA Tour. So it's not like he couldn't play. He was an elite player. He was an all-American Florida State.
But that's what I was just wondering what happened in those 2 years where he wasn't doing. Hey, one last golf note, since we're on the golf segment here, our final segment. We always talk golf in the final segment.
Right, everybody knows that.
Brooks Koepka is just pulled out of this tournament because his caddy has the Rona.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's really good news.
Brooks Koepka has made $31 million in his career. How much is he given back? He could get the stadium named after him.
He's made more than $31 million.
No, I know, just on the tour he's made 31, just on like in earnings.
It's crazy. I know how much money he's made off of it too. It's unreal. That Nike deal is a special one. Ryan writes, I see they're marketing tickets for the West Virginia game. Does this mean there's a chance it gets played, or am I just grasping at straws? Yeah, I think there's a chance, I guess.
Definitely a chance it gets played.
Yeah, if they can, they're going to play it, especially if they can get a decent number of fans in the stadium. Our whole contention with that game is if you're not going to be able to get a decent number of fans in the stadium, it doesn't make any sense for both schools to travel to that game. But yeah, man, if they can get fans there, then they definitely want to play it there.
Nate writes, love the show, Ira and the bald guys. What's a bigger problem, football stadium name or Maryland?
Hey.
Terry writes, how about getting Campbell Soups to sponsor the stadium?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. You still call it Campbell Stadium at least.
Terry writes, gentlemen, Sugar Plum, thanks for all you do to entertain us during the craziest year any of us have ever experienced. No question today, just a sincere thank you from a weary headliner. Thanks, Terry.
Nice.
That is nice. Thank you, man. Did Koepka need a caddy? Do they need caddies? They can't carry. They can just roll their bags.
You're not allowed to roll your own bags, but you can.
I think we can make adjustments though in this trying times.
Under normal circumstances, there are situations where caddies get sick and they just can't. Like the day of the event, they're puking, whatever.
Yeah.
There are caddies on site that know.
But I'm saying. Maybe make adjustments.
In this situation, you can't.
But maybe make adjustments for these unprecedented times and say, golfers, you're going to make a lot of money still, but you got to carry your own bag and you've got to have a yardage marker. You got to do it yourself like you're just playing on a Tuesday at your home course. Just carry your bags. Let's go, guys. Why do you need a caddy?
That would certainly suck, by the way, for him. But, yeah, he could.
All of them.
By the way, Christopher writes, have you guys reached out to the new Busy Bee in Panama City Beach as a sponsor for hour number 2? # big time.
There's a Busy Bee in Panama City now?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I didn't know that.
Is that a game changer for you, Corey?
That is a game changer. The one in Lake City and now one PC, both sides of I-10.
You can get on I-10 going either way now.
Yeah, and just right down the road.
Spend a lot of time with all the winners at the Busy Bee.
Hey, don't start that.
Hey, so Brooks said he's pulling out of the tournament because he just wants to make sure he doesn't have it like underlying or something, and give it to anybody else.
Yeah, Nick Watney last week tested positive. Cameron Champ tested positive before the start of this tournament. He is not participating in it as well. So we're now up to 3 people involved on the tour, but they've done it with the right protocol. They get the guys out of there and they test everybody that came in contact with them, and then they proceed with the tournament. They don't shut it down. They proceed with the tournament.
And the NBA announced like 4 or 5 guys last night that had it. Malcolm Brogdon just came out and said he had it. I think when people see this, though, I mean, you just have to put it in the larger context of how many athletes are there in the world that we know I don't know, 40,000, 30,000, I don't know, that are famous world-class athletes. Think of the percentages. Of course, there's going to be 100 or so, or 200 or 400 that test positive, because that seems to be the percentage that's rolling with regular society, and they're also getting tested more. I think athletes like Malcolm Brogdon, he's probably asymptomatic, but he got tested because he's getting ready to go play an NBA season and found out he's positive. Like Djokovic. Did y'all see that Djokovic nonsense?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
But to Corey's point, and I think Corey was making this point in the very first segment, what we need to know, what would be nice to know with all of these situations, and I don't know if, and the privacy issues obviously are concerned, but like more information about how they're faring would be nice, because the problem is when people hear 25 cases at Clemson or 30 cases at LSU, they're envisioning people in beds and respirators and and it's like, no, I mean, most of them probably feel like they're fine. So that's that part of it. And then, like as Corey said, also like where they get it, like it would be really helpful if they could get past the privacy issues and share some of that information.
If you're college football, you have to do it, because you're going to get inundated with so many names and so many numbers that people are going to be like, let's write it off. You have to get out in front of it from an optics standpoint.
They're going
and say,
to,
look,
guys, it's June. They're going to. You watch. It's going to happen.
They haven't yet because they keep hiding, and I shouldn't say hiding. They keep using the privacy laws, but
sure.
There's no privacy laws that dictate you can't tell us how somebody got something.
You don't have to.
We just don't have to know who they are.
Yeah, no, I think they will.
And how they're doing.
It's a brand new day, man. People are still trying to figure out how to deal with it, and PR and press is part of that. And so I do think that will come along for the ride as well. It's just going to happen.
If they want to save the season, it better.
Oh, it's going to have to.
They can't just let all these numbers keep piling up and not address how they're doing, how they're faring, and how they get it.
Hey, can you have the helmets ready by August?
Yeah, by the next show, please. Can you have those ready?
Oh, you want them by the next show? I don't know if I can have them by the next show. I'll have a prototype.
Well, you got a lot of work to do between now and then, so let's get on it.
All right, 7 days. I'll do it.
Yeah. Ira and Corey, I'm Jeff. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be well. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
Seminole Headlines on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Get more from Jeff, Corey, and Ira via iTunes and in the 97.9 ESPN Radio audio vault. This has been a production of 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's sports monster.